I think we're recording now. So without further ado, Chrystina, take it away.
Well, alrighty then. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this party. Give me just a second. I'm trying to share this screen and it's not showing anything. Okay. Oh, why wouldn't it let me share? Oh, pause. Well, while this is happening on this technical difficulties, if you could comment in the chat box below, what are the categories of goals? There's quite a few. There's 8, actually. Oh no. I like updated my computer and it has all these things. Survival's good. Survival's good. Okay. Health and fitness. Oh, it's so strange when it's quiet. Okay, alrighty. Got it going, guys. Thank you so much for your patience. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen. Yes? Yes? Do I have a yes? Do I have a... Okay. Okay, cool. Great. Thank you. All right. So thank you so much for waiting on that one. I will get my little screen arranged here. So for goal setting and how to stick with it, the stay-at-home edition, because, you know, nobody's really going out there doing crazy things. But so some of the categories that I see here: survival, health and fitness. What else do we have? Personal, weight loss. Yeah, personal ones, educational, business. It's awesome. So yeah, Sharon, you knocked a good one there with the spiritual. Great. So I just wanted to see if you could get them all. So the 8 categories of goals. And for those that may have not have seen this presentation, I tweaked it very little just to the situation at hand, but I had presented this in Manassas at one point. So there might be some reminders or repetitive stuff there. So yeah, the 8 categories of goals is financial. Obviously, with the times at hand, people are very frugal at this time. And of course, family and relationships has been a huge spike for a lot of folks today. And I've seen it here on a lot of the successes, having that family time and enjoying creating that home routine. Health, of course, has a huge spike. So all my health and wellness ladies, a lot of you have basically mentioned that business is going really good right now. A lot of people are getting, having that inner self-care moment and trying to take care of themselves. So health is definitely on the peak. And it's not even just like weight loss as a typical goal, but it's health for your mental, health for your household, and having that self-care that isn't just a weight loss, basically. And then educational, that's what I call stage 4 on the 5 quarantine stages, is basically getting a skill or learning something for yourself. That's always important, and to keep your mind active and wanting to keep it interested, especially it's a little bit harder during this time. So the way I see it, I saw a meme the other day, and by all means, please do unmute and chime in. I would love to have a chat. I saw a meme the other day is if you're not gaining a skill or a side hustle or learning something new during this time, it wasn't time that you needed, it was discipline. So that's really important to know that there's a lot of time on our hands. And if you're not learning something, like what can we do to help you get to a point in your life or a point in your space right now that you can get to read or read a couple articles that you've saved on LinkedIn that you haven't learned. So it could be something really small like that, or something much larger by getting a certificate or getting some type of educational course on your belt. Social and community, that's what we're doing here. Getting it down every day. I know there's a lot of us that repeat on visits for the whole week because I plug in the the membership visiting lists, and I see there's a couple of folks here that go every Monday through Thursday, and that's awesome, putting that social community routine in your life. Business, of course, is a very high priority for a lot of business owners, especially the ones in the room here today. That's always a category that people tend to not realize as its own category, but they think it's more of a personal approach, but it is business. Spiritual and self-development kind of falls into the educational, but self-development in general with your spirituality, for meditation, and just taking a moment to pause. That isn't just the vacation pause that we're on right now, and career, moving forward with your business, with yourself in your career, and getting that down there. So those are the 8 categories that we have. All right. So any questions on those 8 categories? Alrighty. So there is a means versus an ends. When we tend to make goals, let's focus on the end goals during this time. So we all need a little bit of something that makes us happy now. Something that drives us wanting to do more, something that makes us wake up every morning. And I had said it before, it's okay if you have 1 or 2 days during this time where you're just not going to get out of bed until 1 p.m. because it's just one of those days. That's okay. But having a goal, whether it be small or large, something that gets you excited to wake up and that speaks directly to your heart. So it could be something simple in the sense of, Jody Howard waking up and getting that routine as a goal and sticking to it, but it makes you happy to wake up and setting that routine for yourself. So that's really important to, when goals that provide something back to you get delayed because you make excuses of like, oh, you actually don't need that goal to be provided back to you. So if you have something that is an end goal that speaks to your heart, that might actually affect people that you love and care about, it's much easier to jump out of bed and get that goal accomplished or have it more incorporated into your schedule. So the more areas in your life that can be reminding you of your goals or even help measure your goal better, like, do you have a journal? Do you have weekly meetings with your team? Is there a software tracking your work during this time? Of course, that's a lot of kind of the management things that are going on right now. How do managers track their business and track their employees' workload, especially working from home? So are there things in there that you can incorporate reminders that you can set, say for yourself that this is part of your goal that you want to make sure that you're reminded of? And that can go into pretty much, time blocking your activities and looking at your calendar and saying, are these things that fit to my goal? Whether it be a business goal or a personal goal, are there things in my calendar that represent, that tie back to your goal? And then having goals must support your personal values. So if there's something that doesn't really, like I said, speak to your heart, then it probably isn't a goal that needs to be put on the list of priority. And then plans. The more your goal is thought out and be more detailed, it can be better supported. And then actions obviously make all the difference. I like to call it, from my sales training, there's a BAT, and it's behaviors, attitudes, and techniques that pretty much drive those actions. And you'd be surprised, people thought that attitude leads your behaviors and techniques. In fact, it's actually your behavior, your actions. If you, like myself, I hated cold calling. I never wanted to do that. And that's why I started networking. But when I did a few calls, I gained a bit more confidence and was a bit more comfortable making cold calls. So that's kind of where the action can really drive your attitude and your technique, to kind of getting closer and closer to your goal. Cookbook is something that I've mentioned before. It's pretty much a tracking system. You can put it on an Excel spreadsheet, but it would break down all the goals that you have and what kind of measures that count it as successful. And then you would look at it every week. I don't know if anybody has spoken to Danny Chapman, but he has a cookbook. He paces it. He carries it around with him. It's all these little activities and habits that he does that go towards his goal, and he checks it off every day. I have one as well. It's a little bit smaller, and I could share that later if somebody wants to see it. But I track it once a week. Every Monday, I look at it to see if I'm on track with my goals. And then I look at my calendar like all the time. So I'm very much in the value area of where can I have valuable time that reach my goals. Any questions so far? Cool. All right. So first and foremost, step one is gratitude. Basically, this can come in many forms. It can something you can start right now. Something you can put on your phone to remind you and take moments of gratitude every day. And I've seen people who do that. This is a great time to do it now. If you just plug in your phone, maybe, I don't know, 8 a.m. every morning, you just have a 5-minute window of saying, you know what, you're a badass girl. You've been killing it in the game. Business is going good. You're a great mom. I'm a great dad. You know, I'm going to go for a walk for 3 miles with my little kids today, and they're going to kill it, you know, those things. So just having a moment of gratitude and hyping yourself up in the mirror could be that. There's always room for gratitude with an abundance mindset. It could be simple, but having something that encourages yourself. And you could be thankful for others, of course, and maybe go out there and text message, you know, those friends that have visited you on your birthday on a virtual call, and just remind them that they're great. So it could be really simple on what gratitude can start with. But if you don't have gratitude, you won't get far with your goals. And I know Kathy can speak to this as far as, you know, speaking those type of things into existence and tracking it back to you. So these are pretty much, I would call it the 4 steps of making your goals and how to stick with it. I know Kathy has definitely shared some insights on this area as far as what you can speak into existence and having those I am statements and those I already got them statements kind of thing. So this is kind of where it falls into. So don't think it, write it down. As many of us during this time, especially with home improvement projects, self-development skills, like you can tell yourself, you know what, I want to learn how to make sourdough bread. But if you don't write it down, or if you don't put it somewhere on your calendar, are you really going to do it? Somebody could come by and be like, I want to teach you kombucha and how to make kombucha. So if you don't write it down, is it really there? Does it really exist? And then there's a really cool activity, if we had time to do it in person, this is something I probably would have done, is to write down 2 or 3 things or more. I actually had done this activity in my sales training, and I've got probably like 15 random goals. If I could suspend reality, if money, health, experience, ability, or resources were not a factor, what would I write down? You know, one of them is go to Greece, to the Maldives, and be that person on the villas there. So, I mean, I don't got the money. The health situation there right now is probably not good, but that's definitely something I would love to have on my goals if I could suspend reality. So take that moment. For those who journal, write down all the crazy things you've ever wanted to do. It could be considered your bucket list item, bucket list basically. So check that out. It's a really great activity to really see. And one of the interesting things, there was a gentleman in this training class that we had, and he's very work oriented. But when he did this suspend reality activity, what he was finding was a lot of his stuff was self-care, traveling with his family. It was not career related. So that just went to show him and gave him kind of an aha moment, like, wow, I think I'm at a point in my life where work isn't going to drive me anymore. I think I want to be driven by my family and friends and having that community, and building that familial routine again. So that was a really cool activity for him, and it was a really good insight. But try it out. Take a look. Maybe it's something we could share during a one-to-one, all the crazy things you thought of when you could suspend reality for your goals. State it as a positive. So this is a really cool thing that I never really thought of until I was kind of taught it. Instead of saying, you know what, I want to lose 10 pounds, say, I want to lose 10 pounds so that I can go to Disneyland and be able to share that moment with my kids and carry them around for 5 hours. Or I want to gain the certification so I can go out and get a new job. So there's a lot of ways that you can phrase these goals, but the more people you have involved in it, the more they can hold you accountable, because now it affects them. The more detailed you have in it, the more easier it is to not make excuses to not be able to complete it. And then stating it as a positive. It says on here, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I have a positive net worth of this. Instead, I want to get out of debt, or have, a long, respectful and intimate relationship with my spouse. So there's a lot of ways you can really phrase it. Basically, the more words you put in your goal, the better. Any questions so far? Great. I haven't spoken like this in a long time, and it feels like it's super quiet, and it's like weird, like being in a room like this.
Ben has a comment.
Oh, I should start making bread. I'll probably make egg rolls before that, though. So what I would find one of the hardest things that people, when they talk about their goals, or when they're in the situation right now that we're in, is determining what goals to do, right? So we have this crazy list of suspended reality. Now, how do you prioritize what's going to be the thing that you're going to be working on? So it's not just having SMART goals, but it's having smarter goals. Being specific, we've talked about that. Having some type of measurement is ideal. So if you were aiming for 10 pounds to be lost during this quarter, how are you going to track that? Is it every 2 weeks? If you lost a pound, is that kind of successful? Are they attainable? And, with that whole suspending of reality, that's where you want to really see, is it truly attainable now in your situation? Are they risky? Is it risky enough to keep you intrigued? Is it risky enough to keep you excited and wanting to do more and wanting to get it over? Is it risky enough where you're like, man, I can't wait for the day that this goal is done, so that I don't freak out anymore? And that could go into, somebody wanting to do 7 speaking engagements for this quarter. That's kind of risky, but I kind of want to accomplish it because I can get it off the plate. Time bound, people set these goals, and I'm sure we've done this before during our first quarter, even our second, setting goals with a time bound thing. And this is one of my mistakes before my networking life that I've had, is setting a goal that had no time bound thing. It was like, all right, I want to lose like 20 pounds this year, but you can't put a year on a time bounded thing unless you're like really actively measuring it every time and it's on your schedule and stuff. You can. But the smaller chunks of goals, being the quarterly that we did already, having some type of time bound to that. And you only have 90 days, right, to complete this project. So it doesn't have to be something wild, but definitely something attainable and has a time bound and measurement. And it goes into rewarding and enjoyable, going through that whole positive abundance mindset. Creating a space or creating a goal where it's enjoyable. It might suck for you as maybe a parent, and if it affects your kids, but it's enjoyable for them, right? And you're being driven by them and wanting to involve them into your goal, because then they can be like, Dad, did you go out? Or Mom, did you go out and lose your weight or go walking? Because we're going to Disneyland at the end of the quarter, So having it be rewarding and enjoyable in that sense, it's a great thing to have. So going back to how do we overcome these obstacles during these times, right? Times are especially rough right now. But, looking at this list of successes, we're all on an abundance mindset. As times are rough right now, as Ben said, we are in week 7, which is like mind blowing that we've been doing this for 7 weeks already. And for those that have attended more Net 2.0s, this has been a long time. In setting, having a goal, whether it's small or big, personal, professional, it will help drive motivation during this time. And here are a couple of things, besides this whole thing, these were things that would really be an obstacle to stop you making your goals. Some of them are more prevalent now and some of them aren't at this time. So just take a look. I don't plan on reading that whole list, but putting your goals off until someday, it's now. Those things that you didn't have time for, you can do them now. For some that had 2-hour commutes every day, those are 2 hours of days. You can dedicate that to your personal goal or your professional goal. Viewing mistakes as a failure, like I don't know, when I burn an egg now for breakfast, I think it's like a horrible thing because, like, what else am I doing, right? If I'm burning an egg and I can't keep my shit together, like, I have a problem. But it's okay. Viewing mistakes as a failure is not something you want to do. Um, it doesn't give you any benefit. There's really nothing there. It's like that person who says, "I told you so." My husband does that all the time, and I look at him like, I could really do without those comments because you didn't really help me to get there anyway. So, like, you don't have to tell me. You told me so because I already know. So those are those kind of areas that I feel more prevalent now. And then giving up before you see the results. I would say be consistent. Something that reminded me to this is, you're setting up your CRM, or you're reaching out to those clients and getting closer to them, and diving more deeper into that relationship. Be consistent. If somebody, you try to call one of your clients or they don't pick up, or you call one of their clients and like, no, I'm busy right now. I got more things to worry about. Be consistent. Maybe text message them, maybe have a different avenue, but having that consistency, checking into your goals, measuring them, maybe talking to your family every week and seeing like, oh, how are everyone's goals or something like that. Be consistent, because it's really easy to fall off, and time kills a lot of things. And then setting your sights too high. Though we had that moment of suspending reality, there are things that in your life that you're actually capable of doing, and there might be things that are a bit more riskier, but are they realistic goal setting measures, right? And yeah, so any other obstacles? If you think of any other obstacles that might be more prevalent that I might have missed here, but please provide them in the chat box for others to see. It's definitely been an interesting time for a lot of us, and I know this has been a common topic for many virtual meetings, but things are going to be not back to normal per se, like December 31st normal, when we do go back into this community again and being able to hug. Man, I just need a hug. That's probably it. But to that said, we'll move on. So for those that's seen this before, this is the 90-day goal setting box. It pretty much sums up kind of everything we talked about today into this nice little box. So if you want to take a snapshot of it or kind of look at the structure of it, it doesn't have to be this way, but it is helpful. Obviously, first and foremost, you want to write down your goal and getting accomplished this quarter or this time period or this month, but provide a time period. And that goes into the deadline date. And then action steps, as you can see, it's a daily, weekly, monthly breakdown, depending on the extensity of your goal. And what steps do you need to take? So these could be your small little calendar blocks that you want to take your dog on a walk twice a day. Or you want to take that moment and study for that certification or study for that test that you've been looking for. Or taking a moment of meditation if you want to go down that way. And then self-development, that's that whole gratitude bit, right? And that's why it's such a big block there, because there's so many different ways that you can tell yourself that you're a badass. And then you need to do that. Those should be things that you incorporate into your daily life now, especially now. So, Lynn, if you're taking a shower every day, I hope you look at yourself in that mirror and be like, damn, girl, what are you doing? Like, how are you so great, So it could be just a lot of gratitude moments that you have in there, whether it be for yourself or for somebody else, but definitely have that in your life. And it goes into, possible obstacles and possible solutions. So as we looked over the how to overcome obstacles during this time, what's going to happen, right? So say that you do want to lose 10 pounds, and one of your daily tasks is to wake up early and go for a walk. Here are one of your obstacles. I'm not a morning person. I'm not going to wake up at 9 a.m. or 7 a.m. and go for a walk. Nah, can't do it. So what are your possible solutions? Maybe set an afternoon walk when you're already awake. Maybe set 15, alarm clocks with all the snoozes for every 3 minutes and hit that every 3 minutes, because I've done that. Wakes me up. So there's a lot of solutions that you can think of when your obstacles are in line, right? And then rewards and consequences. Having that thing that makes you want to wake up every morning, having it reward yourself, your family, whatever it may be, writing it down so you can remind yourself, like, if I accomplish this goal, this is my reward. If I don't accomplish this goal, this is my consequence. So going back to, that losing weight example, If I don't accomplish this, I won't be able to take my kids and have a good time with my wife or husband at the vacation that we planned for when I look good in my bikini or my Speedo, for losing that weight. On a business side, if I don't sell this deal, I might be reprimanded, or not reprimanded, but I might have to look elsewhere for a new job. Or, if I make this deal, I'm going to get a 1% bonus on the revenue of that deal, right? So having those kind of details in there for your goals have really been helpful. Another way that you can remind yourself that these goals exist is vision boards. And that's a really cool activity during this time. If you have a bunch of magazines, do it with your kids, do it with yourself or your wife, and make those vision boards. And you'll come to find out what attracts to you. And you'll say, you know what, maybe all your goals are written for professional, but then your vision board is all this fun stuff, family time, drinking more, saving money more, whatever it may be. But the whole vision board for myself was really interesting because it ended up being a gratitude board, because I found a bunch of things that says, you're awesome. It's okay to run naked and work out, just random things to make you laugh and have a good time. But that's a really fun activity that you can do with your kids or in your family during this time. So any questions so far? Okay. And so don't be afraid to be ambitious. Just remember you only have a time block period to complete these goals. And again, involve others if you can. If you need help writing a goal, if you need help to have some type of insight to maybe see if there's an obstacle that you just don't see yourself, and you need to ask Ben to be like, hey man, what are the risks of me doing these goals, right? Reach out to your fellow colleagues. You can reach out to me. I would love to see what your goals are. We can talk about mine and yours. But yeah, so this is more of a presentation of myself that I had kind of it was actually done by my sales manager, and I tweaked it a little bit and made it more Net 2.0 friendly. But I learned a lot in that class when he shared it with us, and I've never, like this year, a little bit of last year was like the year of like goal setting. I've always been that person like, oh yeah, I want to lose 10 pounds this year. Never done it. But now that I actually have a lot of these measurements and techniques to stick to these goals, it's been really cool. It's been really interesting to see, checking in that routine, whether it be meditation or looking at your cookbook or anything like that. It's been really cool to have. So thank you. My name is Chrystina from Rhythmic Technologies. You can reach out to me there. I would love to have a one-on-one and chat. Until the day we can meet in person and give out hugs. And that's all I wrote.